Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Suzuka for the Aero League Racing Season 9 first race of the championship here at this beautiful circuit of Suzuka. Historic circuit, of course. We had a slight hiccup on the original video and lobby, but we're back. My name is Webbo, here to take you through tonight's racing. I'll run you through the runners and riders shortly, but you can see the pair of distinct livery vehicles here. We've got Marco and Zimmy, who will be racing across different teams as they just warm up in the practice session. We are still practicing. Don't forget. It looks like we're about to get underway for you. We're going to try the new qualifying setup, which appears to be a little bit more stable than we are used to. And qualify. Here we go again. Unfortunately, an unexpected error. Looks like I need to try and get myself back in. Unfortunately, looks like we might need a little bit of help from our drivers and our admin to get us back underway. Some hiccups here as we start our coverage. Hopefully we can keep the stream alive. This did break last time, so let's see if I can get myself back in, and hopefully we can get on board with qualifying. Welcome if you're just joining us, and welcome to everybody watching live with us. Do chat along and keep it interesting for us. And if you see anything that I'm not talking about that bears mentioning on stream, do mention it, of course. I seem to have a few by way of difficulties beginning this one. Perhaps some internet issues. I can't exactly be certain. I don't think I should have a problem with my internet on my end, unfortunately. So there must be some connection to the server issue going down. I will try and get us into qualifying as soon as humanly possible. Of course, lobby stability has never been fantastic here on Gran Turismo 7 just yet, but hopefully it will be underway for you. There we go. Qualifying is underway. Caplero heads the timing at the moment, but it's Sick Boy on track right now. Let's join him on board then as he starts his outlap. I do apologise for this technical problem connecting to the servers. I will do my level best to get you into the room. See what we can do for you. Hopefully, I think we've had a cancellation there of the lobby, so I think that might be why we're coming back in. I don't think it's all the way issue for me on my end, but it looks like from the look of the driver room we are going to be underway for you very soon. And thank you very much for your patience so far. I appreciate it's frustrating, but we'll be underway for you as soon as humanly possible. Let's talk about then the drivers as we've got a couple of minutes here. Some newcomers, plenty of experienced Tier 1 drivers here in the GT Top League. Zimmy and Raya Chan will take on the Renault in cars 33 and 71. Then following them, two newcomers, Owen Williams in the Peugeot RCZ and Zerbo in 414 and 222. Next then we have Marco racing in the distinct livery but in a McLaren 650S. He will be joined by Svanderspek in car 74. Caplero is in the Mazda RX Vision. We haven't seen many of these cars before in the top tier in the recent seasons, certainly since we started here with GT7. Caplero is in car 62, joined by Viking Dog in car 78. Then in the Lamborghini Huracan, we have BR4 and Moosh in cars 39 and 53, respectively. Lars will take on the Jaguar F-Type in car 11, and his teammate is Sick Boy for this 8-race championship. We follow then by two-time double champion right now and reigning champion Mighty Iggy in the Genesis X in car 4. He is joined by Mackies, who's been celebrating the promotion of his favourite football team, and you can make guesses in the chat as to which one that is. He's been celebrating that today, and Mackies is racing in car 42. BX Royal, our session host, is in 57 in the Ferrari 458, and his teammate is CMP23 in car 16. So yeah, I've told you everybody that is racing for us. Tell me who your favourite is and why is it Iggy, should I say, here at the top tier of racing. But any dark horses, I would love to hear from you. How do you rate Marco versus Zimi in the battle for distinct honours? I wonder. And drivers just getting themselves ready for practice. Looks like we've had a slight reset on the weather front, and so let's check in with who we have on board. This is Marco, and you'll see his car in the distinct livery here. As I mentioned, Marco in the McLaren, but not joined by his teammate Zimi across manufacturer teams, which is how we count things here at Aero League Racing. Obviously drivers getting ready and just warming up the car, getting ready for qualifying. Let's have a look through and you see the different the different distinct car here for Zimi. That's the Renault RS01 GT3, but very similar. Caplero moaning he's got the wrong livery. Never mind, I mean, after the problems we've had already, I think we can live with that. That is the other Renault in the anime-inspired Raya-chan entry, the Brazilian driver. Then we've got the Viking Dog driving the RX Vision, the Mazda. Let's take a look at his livery, shall we, while we get the cars ready for qualifying. We've got a sunset practice, so we should be in the night vision again. So pink, yellow, white and black dominating cars. The G45 is the Goteki G45 is our reference point there, main sponsor on the car. Mackies has changed livery this time round. He was Mercedes last season, and he has chosen the Genesis this time. Will be predominantly racing in the Superdry red entry, car 42. Then we have Zerbo in the fairly attractive black with neon green accents Peugeot RCZ. BX Royal, he is currently in the pits, so we won't get a good look at his livery just yet, but we'll have plenty of racing to enjoy, checking out the liveries, and some nominations if you're watching with us as to who has the prettiest car would be most appreciated. I will make my judgments such as it is worth as we run through. With 15-minute sprint race followed by a reverse grid 40-minute feature race. As usual here, the only difference being that we're going to be running unusual. We're going to be using the qualifying setup instead of practice times to try this one. And everybody just getting organised and comfortable. Marco has put down a time of 1:59.474. Let's see how that compares when they are in the heat of qualifying. Beautiful shot there of the Ferris wheel. First circuit worldwide to enjoy a Ferris wheel. Of course, many have copied since, but Suzuka remains one of the world's unique challenges. Fantastic old school circuit that punishes drivers who go offline, and let's wait for see how they get through with these historic corners. We love watching them through the S's, through the snake, and into the Degnas, of course, that fly by at the blink of an eye, down into the hairpin that I like to call the Kobayashi hairpin, and then through the famous 130R and spoon corners in reverse order before finishing at the Casio Triangle. Looking forward to seeing how our drivers do. An 8-race championship awaits, as you would expect here in the championship. For those of you who are well used to watching with us, I'm just checking out. We haven't exactly officially started qualifying just yet. That will be. Yeah, have we always gone for a martini? And unfortunately, that has ended up kicking me out of the lobby. Let's try and get back in as quick as possible and hope that this is not a symptom of things to come. Hopefully this is just getting everybody warmed up and ready to race today. We'll do our absolute best to keep things stable for you, but unfortunately this is the reality of racing on these ones. I'm being asked a question about the rule book. That's a bad sign to try and ask me questions, as I'm unable to get in the server at the moment. Bear with me. So try and get in, shall we? Success is a good word to see. Let's wait for the Gran Turismo loading screen to let us in, shall we? And hopefully we will be into the swing of qualifying by the time we get there. Just for the avoidance of doubt, I do run a wired broadband connection, and there is the beautiful Owen Williams split black and white Martini liveried Peugeot RCZ. It is looking very nice indeed, I have to say. I do wish that Gran Turismo would remember my camera settings and screen settings as we go. But here we go then, on board with Owen Williams in the Peugeot RCZ, heading towards down the back straight towards 130R. Chuck the car in, 5th gear. Hope it sticks before finding a braking point here. Don't necessarily pay a great deal of attention to the braking marker points because they lie here at the Casio Triangle. And heading on down then the main start-finish straight, and we've started the hot lap already on board the Peugeot. Remember, 10 minutes of qualifying. Your timing counter is on your bottom left of screen. Some beautiful rear view mirror shots, but Owen won't be paying any attention to that as we head towards turn 3 and deep into the snake. The ever increasing radius, decreasing speed apex turns before finally coming upon Dunlop, which opens out shortly. This is the next left is Dunlop, and we will be opening out the steering, building the speed. That is far from ideal through there, but I wonder if we've got a certain amount of lag on the car. Now we're looking for the braking point into the Degner 1. Use as much entry curve as possible to stay off the exit curbs. Likewise, flash through Degner 2 and under the overpass where the figure of 8 circuit takes effect. Now the short straight down into the Kobayashi hairpin. Multiple lines available through here, and the GT cars very forgiving through there in comparison to the very much more stiff setup open wheelers. And then the long run, the 200R run down towards Spoon, where you will see drivers gain and lose a huge amount of time. Don't worry too much about Spoon 1, but it's all about your apex speed and how early you can get on the throttle out of Spoon 2 before heading down this now backstretch under the Panasonic bridge, under the Dunlop bridge, through the penalty marker point where the cars will be automatically slowed off throttle. Now we're into 130R again. No time to pay attention to the sunset as we dive down, leaning on the front axle. Slowest point on the circuit here through the Casio Triangle, and then again fighting the car to try and find grip on the way out of the final corner, fabulously named the last curve, and Owen gets a 2-minute 3:74. Viking Dog beats him. Distinct Marco beats him too. Mackies is in the pits. Iggy also in the pits as Caplera goes to cross the line and gets a provisional 3rd place. What about our admin and session host BX Royal as all the drivers learning their way around these new cars for all of them, as BX Royal goes into the pits to join Iggy as well. CMP will try and get himself a time on the board. Let's see what CMP can do. He gets a 8th place, 9 seconds off the pace at the moment, as BR4 comes to cross the line as well. BR4 manages a, well, I want to say 15th, but that's hard to believe. 14th maybe for BX Royal. And there you see the Ferrari in the mint green and white with the EA Sports big logo on the side for the Ferrari. Interesting liveries here. I hadn't seen the Ferrari yet. Let's ride with Viking Dog then, who has the fastest time so far, and he's faster still. A purple sector in sector 1 as we go down into the hairpin and around. High engine note here on board Viking Dog's car, as we then look towards the breaking point of Spoon. Pick up on the throttle nicely, but as much patience as possible. And that was a little early on the throttle then through Spoon 2. Will cost him some time, but we'll get an update on his sector time as we go down towards 130R. Will cross the timing beam now, and he's faster. He is a purple sector 2, but there's plenty of speed to gain on the exit of Spoon for Viking Dog. This could be very special for the Italian driver here. We've got an Italian 1, 2, 3, 4 currently, including an Italian in a Ferrari, as he's fighting the car. He's not happy with that line at all. Marco comes in the pits as well. What about Caplero then? Will we see a lap time finish? No, he's coming on into the pits, so it looks like a single lap attempt as, wow, Zerbo getting deep on into the brakes, getting held up on the way in by the Jaguar in front of him. Won't be happy with that particular interchange for the moment. Soft tyres on board the top 4 at this current time, and we haven't seen anything from reigning double champion Iggy as he comes through to start his first flyer. Let's ride then on board with Iggy and see what he can summon out of this new car for him down into turn 1 and manage the turbo lag, keep the turbo pressure on. Plenty of cars getting out of the way and being as sporting as possible through the snake, but it's still a distraction for our drivers. So it's Viking Dog, Marco and Caplero, your top 3 currently, but will Iggy have the ability to get in the mix there? He goes fastest in the first sector by just 1/100th of a second. Fantastic view from behind that he can see straight in front of his steering wheel. Really nice positioning on the car. Getting a little bit messy on the exit of Degner 1, but straightening up okay for Degner 2. A little bit of a correction as he looks for good grip and positioning through the hairpin. That was as good as it gets, really. Slightly late apex early on the power, and now hoping that the car in front doesn't get too far in the way. Iggy, our Austrian maestro, looking to try and reassert his authority for the 3rd consecutive season now. Building the speed once again, still suffering a little bit of late corner understeer and lack of grip is Iggy. May get a small tow from the slow vehicles in front of him, the Renault RS getting out of the way. Iggy monstering that apex curb, and then heavy onto the brakes just after the 100 meter marker board. Car in front getting well out of the way, but a little bit late for Iggy's taste. We're coming up on 8.5 minutes of that qualifying session, so the drivers really need to set the times, and Iggy sets a P3, 0.6 of a second away from the fastest time so far. And who else can possibly get in the mix? Let's see about BR4. Well, he's only just starting his next lap, and just trying to find our drivers. Here is Svanderspek then, unfamiliar territory, down in P9 and starting his final run, I think, as we tick over the 9-minute point. Remember, the clock will stop and the drivers have to finish the lap that they are on. It is not quite as straightforward as a normal time session, as far as I'm aware. This is our first time using official qualifying here, so could work slightly differently. I'm learning, as are the drivers. Sick Boy is currently in P11 and is going slightly slower than before, but Raya-chan has gone to the top of the timing screens with a 1:58.530. Let's see if Viking Dog is increasing his pace. He's in the Ferrari. You can tell it's the Ferrari because of that beautiful engine note. When I stop talking, of course. And down we go through spoon 1, looking for good grip. He's got that inside wheel on the curb. Slight correction once again, if that is to be believed, on the circuit, and building those revs, waiting for the red light on the rev counter above him, and he's purple in the second sector. Could be able to retake pole here, Viking Dog, from Raya-chan. Down we go then into the Casio triangle once again. Needs to finish this one. This is confirmed as his final lap, so it's now or never. He'll be hoping for that toe behind the Jaguar. Can Viking Dog retake pole? Oh yes, he can, by a quarter of a second. Launches himself into the best starting position for this sprint race. Of course, the reverse grid on its way. Marco in second takes that front row away from Raya-chan, so it's an all-Italian front row at the moment. What can our riders do? Here is Raya-chan. He's got traffic on his final lap. He won't be impressed with that at all. Raya-chan might get a distant toe, but it won't be enough to make up for the disruption from the Mazda in front. A 1:58.475 is only good enough for second position, and a absolute cracking start to our qualifying session. Very, very competitive there. So where are we? We are the top 6 within a second of each other at this historic, tricky circuit, and they only had really 2 main attempts at the race, at the qualifying overall. We will dive straight into qualifying as we get the result of qualifying on the right of screen. That is Viking Dog on top from Raya-chan, Marco, BX Royal, our host, Mighty Iggy, our double champ, Caplero, Mackies, Zerbo, Owen, and BR4, the top 10, as we get ready for our 15-minute sprint race. Remember, then we reverse the grid, so watch for any sandbagging from our drivers as we see towards the end of the race, because they will be equipping themselves readily. Let's try and get my cameras organized in time. The red lights are almost ready. It's a standing start for the start of our season 9. Viking Dog on the right, Raya-chan on left of screen, and it's lights out and go away from the start. Raya-chan with a good start will be able to claim that inside line, that disputed pole position on the outside entry, and it will in fact be Viking Dog defending from the inside from that third place from BX Royal. Viking Dog holding on, and it's Raya-chan with a place gained from the beginning. Mighty straight away up into 4th place, and they're trying to organize themselves into single file as they file away through the S's on this first lap. Great start then from Raya-chan, launching himself up into first position, taking that inside line that he was already positioned on thanks to the grid, and a small nibble at the back of BX Royal's Ferrari, perhaps from Iggy, who draws side by side. You don't want to be on the outside on the way into Degner 1. He's going to leave himself vulnerable to the distinct livery McLaren behind him of Marco, and puts himself wide out onto the gravel. Iggy all the way down to the foot of the field, the absolute last position. That is highly unusual for Iggy. You might see him down there in the feature race, but that is an absolute disaster for our reigning double champ Iggy. Meanwhile at the front, it's Raya-chan from Viking Dog, putting the gap on BX Royal away from the first lap here. Glowing front discs already from the Mazda RX Vision of Viking Dog. I'm enjoying that livery already, and do let me know if you've got nominations for the best livery so far. Reassure me that my live chat is working, because right now I'm not seeing anything currently, but Raya-chan is leading us away. Viking Dog, BX Royal, Caplero, Marco from BR4. I didn't see a great deal in the incident between Marco and and Iggy put himself on the outside, trying to make the overtake through Degner. It's a dangerous place to go one wide, let alone two wide, and Iggy finds himself down into that 14th position as they go almost three wide. Then Zimmy, Iggy, Owen, as they head down towards turn one. This is Zimmy trying to thread the needle between Iggy and the Jaguar. As Iggy finds some space, Zimmy goes down the inside of both of them. And what a fantastic move between them. It's nice and clean so far. The Jaguar has the inside into turn two. And who will prosper out of this one? We're right on board with Zimmy now, as the Jaguar is inching around the circuit under some degree of lag. Iggy getting a little bit impatient from behind here. He needs to make places as quickly as possible. Blasting across and into Dunlop for the second time of asking over the Degner turns. Dangerous Degners for Iggy, and he's on the gravel again through Degner 2. Iggy not enjoying that sector of the racetrack at the moment, but look at this for the race lead. This is the Mazda coming on from Viking Dog, trying to go the long way round. The 200R on the way into Spoon, and closed out from that particular attempt by Raya-chan in the Renault. So following hard but fair at the moment battle at the front of our sprint race. It's only a 15-minute sprint race. Remember, watch the clock on the bottom left screen. BX is in P3 at the moment, just followed shortly by Caplero and Marco. You can see Viking Dog and Caplero matching liveries, so they've got themselves organised for this one, and it's a very nice livery, matching the shut lines of the Mazda. I have to say, I'm enjoying it no end. Marco in P5, BR4 in P6. We've got Mackey's up all the way up there in P7 in the Genesis, despite celebrating all day the promotion of his favourite football team. Zerbo in 8th, Svanderspec in 9th, Sick Boy, CMP, and Iggy has got his way up to 12th. He's managed to dispatch Zimmy and Owen with Lars at the rear of the field in 15th at the moment. Expect his plans to sandbag this one, but Viking Dog has taken the lead of lap 3. Viking Dog back on top after starting pole. Raya-chan launching it up the inside successfully, but Viking Dog's underlying pace seeming to, currently Raya-chan losing a little bit of speed now, and it looks like BX Royal starting to bring himself forward as well. He is only 0.6 of a second behind Raya-chan, who is competing for the first time since I've been commentating in the top tier for GT7 here, and certainly showing very well in this first sprint race. Sprinting is one thing, feature race distance quite another, especially with the reverse grid, so we'll see how that works out later. Damage limitation for our double champ Iggy further back. You can see that mint green and white. I don't know if it just looks a little bit wrong on a Ferrari for me, but let me know what you think watching on live with us. So soft tyres, as I say, for the grid at the moment. 4th for Caplero, 5th for Marco, 6th for BR4, who has gone for the mediums and is pretty tight up behind Marco's P5. So BR4, he's got some attention from Mackey's on softs behind. BR4, the only car at the moment in the top 9, because you've got to count Sick Boy in 10th on the mediums. So it's CMP. Iggy's on softs behind medium runners. That's going to be tricky. Zimmy, Owen and Lars. Lars at the back on the mediums. The Dunlop turn. And looking very, very close between BX Royal Caplero and Marco for the master team. But Marco closing in. Marco was of a bump and run. I'm not sure if they quite touched, but Caplero looked wild on the exit of Spoon 2. He's